Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and it is Tuesday, March 19th, and I'm here to chat all things NXT. That's right, another Tuesday in the books, and we are inching closer and closer to NXT Stand and Deliver. As a matter of fact, we got another match added to the card officially, and then on top of that, we got some more matches that are starting to look like they are coming underway and headed into Stand and Deliver. So overall, I want to start off by saying that I thought today's episode of NXT was relatively simple, but there was some good wrestling on the show. So we'll have some things to talk about. I thought the ending of the show kind of worked out very nicely. So we'll talk about all of that and more. But before I break down the show, just a friendly reminder to everybody here, if you want to get your question, your comment, your hot take, your cold take, your recipe, your I don't know. Did you already drop your New Year's resolutions? Whatever it is, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. If you did send in a super chat, not only does this help out this channel tremendously, but it also gets your whatever it is that you want read here on the stream. So let's get to it. I want to start things off as always, giving a shout out to Sheldon Jackson for gifting 5 DWO memberships, and he also sends in a super chat saying, the Good Brothers are the epitome of being better off away from WWE. Anytime the Good Brothers are in WWE, their talents are being squandered away from WWE. They're actually booked well and win titles. Well, my friend, when they moved the Good Brothers over to NXT, one of my first thoughts was they were probably better off maybe not going to WWE. And the only reason I say that is because they were very booked and busy when they weren't with the company. However, they went back there. I feel like I can't say that they shouldn't have gone, because it obviously depends on what they want, right? When it comes to like money, you're going to get a nice paycheck in WWE. And I'm pretty sure they thought that things were going to change, that maybe the booking of them was going to be a little bit different, but there really wasn't much of a difference. And now they're over on NXT, which I can only imagine feels like a downgrade, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be winning the NXT tag team titles, to be honest, because let's not forget, Braun Breaker is he's a main roster talent now. And so I'm predicting that at WrestleMania that we are going to be seeing the Good Brothers take the titles away from Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. That's where I'm at right now. Of course, we'll see once we actually get to WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver and all of that that's happening. But personally, it does feel like a downgrade for the Good Brothers, but hey, you know what? They're making the best of it, so we're just going to go with it. They had a pretty decent match today, so we'll talk about that in a second. But Sheldon, thank you so much as always for sending in that super chat. I appreciate it a whole lot. All right, so let's get to it. I want to kick things off by talking about like the biggest part of the show, which was Trick Williams and Noam Dar in the main event. And the reason I want to start off with this is because we had some pretty good stuff that went down at the end of this match. So let's get into it. Of course, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes is officially happening at Stand and Deliver, which we already knew that, but hey, I might as well say it again in case you didn't know. And so this one here today, like Trick Williams and Noam Dar, it really wasn't a match that I was looking forward to. Like I didn't really care for it at all, but I'm like, it is what it is. It's going to be exciting to see. Well, the thing that I was excited to see was two things. One, how they were gonna continue the story with Carmelo and Trick. What they're gonna do in between from now until Stand and Deliver. And the other thing I was surprisingly looking forward to was what Noam Dar would look like in a match where it's not the Heritage Cup rules anymore. Because the Heritage Cup rules match, you guys know, I'm not a fan. I don't dig it. I'm just not interested in it at all. And so when I would watch those matches, I was already like disconnected from what I was seeing. And because that's really what we've been seeing Noam Dar in, I felt like I had the opportunity today to watch with a new lens because those rules were thrown away, obviously. And this was a normal match between Trick Williams and Noam Dar. And so I got to tell you, like, I feel like I enjoyed Noam's work here a lot more once the Heritage Cup stuff was out the freaking window. Once that stuff was gone, I felt like I was actually able to enjoy his work in the ring. So that for me was like something that I was looking forward to seeing. But anyways, so we get this match between Trick Williams and Noam Dar. It's not bad. This was not a bad match at all. And the big thing that I was also wondering was, okay, last week we saw Trick Williams and Lash Legend making out, by the way. They're an in real life couple. And so I was wondering, like, okay, is she going to come out and be like side by side with him in his arm today? Is she going to betray her friends? The metaphor? Like, what is the plan? What are we doing moving forward? And turns out that Lash Legend actually tried to cost this match for Trick Williams. At one point, she gets up on the ring apron, starts distracting him, and even threatens to slap this man. And I'm thinking, what? What are you doing, Lash? Last week, you're in this man's arms and you're making out, and now you're trying to cost him the match. So I kind of found that to be hilarious. She's definitely playing hard to get, and even though she's already been got, but you know what I mean? Storyline wise, I guess she's playing hard to get. But he did get a kiss right away, so I don't really know if that counts as hard to get. But anyways, that's what we got on the Lash Legend Trick Williams front. She isn't successful with the slap. He stops her, and Noam Dar almost takes advantage of this, but Trick Williams kicks out, and so, of course, Trick Williams manages to get his win. He ain't going to be losing heading into this big matchup against Carmelo Hayes. But here's the thing that I did like after the show. So Trick cut a promo, and it was basically just him calling out Carmelo. He said, I know you're here. Come out. Let's do this. And we see 4 security guards come out, and the 4 security guards got like some big bulky clothes, right? So all 4 guys surround the ring, and Trick is kind of like waiting, trying to see like, okay, what the hell? Like, at one point, we're thinking, okay, is Carmelo Hayes one of the security guards? Is he not? Is he going to come from behind? And we were all pretty much probably expecting some sort of scenario in which Carmelo Hayes kind of screwed Trick Williams, right? That's what I was expecting. But then, all of a sudden, his theme music plays, and you see this guy coming out, and I'm not kidding you. I swore, I thought that was Carmelo Hayes. I legitimately thought that was Carmelo Hayes. And so it successfully threw me the F off. I fell for it. Congratulations to whoever came up with that idea. This dope over here completely fell for it. And I thought that was Carmelo Hayes. And and Trick Williams fell for it too. Okay, babe. Whatever. So Trick Williams falls for it. It's not Carmelo Hayes. In fact, Carmelo Hayes is one of the security guards. He takes off like the whatever he had on his head. He takes it off and he goes in and he attacks Trick Williams from behind. I love this because they made me think that I knew. They made me second guess myself. Like, I knew he had to be one of the security guards. I knew he was going to do something shady. I knew he was going to do something cowardly. But then they made me think, oh, I guess he's not going to do that. And like when the other guy came out pretending to be Carmelo Hayes, I was thrown off. I was like, how's Carmelo Hayes going to screw Trick Williams right now? Like, what's he going to do if he's coming out? Is he going to face him face to face? Like, is he actually going to be doing this? And so they did a phenomenal job at swerving me at this portion of the show. I was a fan of that. But of course, Carmelo Hayes and his security guards, they beat up on Trick Williams, lay him out. This was good. I got to tell you, I was really liking how they executed this here tonight because, again, they made me second guess myself. So I was a fan. Steven Marchuli sends in a super chat saying, so Ruka has the it factor since returning. Roxanne as a heel is lit. Agreed on both of those points, my friend. Chloe Adams says, is this adorable Wendy Chu ever coming back? So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but during a backstage segment, I think it was when Lyra was talking to Ava Raine backstage, there was a poster with Wendy Chu, like a little Wendy Chu poster behind Lyra Valkyria. And I don't know if it was there already. I have no idea. I never noticed it until today. And I started thinking, I wonder if they showed us that poster there because maybe they're trying to like remind us about Wendy Chu, put her name back out there in the NXT universe, you know? Maybe her poster was just there. Maybe it's always been there and I just happened to notice it today, but it may not mean anything or it may mean something. I cannot give you the answer for that, but I really do hope that we see Wendy Chu back at some point. So Chloe Adams, thank you so much for sending in the super chat. I am in agreement with you. I want to see Wendy Chu back because it's been a long, long time since we've seen her. A long, long time. And I want her to come back as the Wendy Chu that we were seeing with the cute little bunny slippers and the pajamas and everything. Shops at Claire's. That's the Wendy Chu I want to see back. But I have a feeling that she's going to come back and she's going to be angry and she's not going to be that cutesy Wendy Chu anymore. So Chloe, thank you so much for sending that in. All right. Okay. There's people saying some people noticed that, some people didn't. Huh. All right. We got another super chat here from Hector Rodriguez. Thank you so much, Hector. He says, thanks for the gifted memberships, whoever you were. That was Sheldon. Sheldon gifted you a membership. And Hector says, but man, Mello as a SWAT team member was a bit funny. It was good, right? Like the swerve, it really got me because again, and you know what? I wonder if he was the one who knocked on the door and was like, Mello, it's time. Or who knows? I didn't look too closely at the person that did it. So maybe not. Or maybe it was the guy next to him, but because we were all looking at the guy who was talking. All right, someone needs to go back and rewatch that segment because it was a picture-in-picture, basically. The match was going, and they had a little picture where they showed Carmelo Hayes' door, and the security guy, like, knocks on it and says, like, Mello, it's time. I don't know. I didn't pay too close attention to that. But anyways, thank you so much, Hector, for that super chat. We got Will Chisholm here who says, I think Wendy has been hurt, and that poster was a slick way to tease her return. I can see that because as I mentioned before, NXT likes to come up with all of these fun little creative ways to do things. And I can see them doing it as simple as like, here's a poster of Wendy Chu. By the way, if she is coming back and that wasn't done on purpose, that's just lucky, I guess. Will Chisholm, thank you so much for the super chat as always. All right, so Malik Black says, not gonna lie, I wanted to see fake Mello. Me too. It's funny when he came out, I was staring at him and I was like, wow, those are some really great pants that Carmelo is wearing. That's literally the thought that was running through my head with the fake Carmelo. They successfully fooled me into thinking that was him. Thank you so much. I wanted to see that too. But anyways, that's the big thing with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, and that's where we're at with this entire story. I don't know what else I would want to see from this. Again, I mean, they've been telling such a good story with these guys. We still got a couple of weeks until the actual show itself. So I feel like I'm more so on the boat of just, all right, keep doing what you guys are doing because it's been pretty damn good. A couple of weeks ago, we had this promo from Carmelo Hayes where he was going back to the barbershop and they recapped like everything between him and Trick. I thought that was really good. And I like that both guys have brought up at different times how personal this whole feud is between both of these guys. So anyways, I'm a fan of what they're doing here. I liked how they worked in Noam Dar into this, and I like the way that this all played out with Lash Legend, with Metaphor. And now, well, what's going to happen with Lash Legend? Is she going to, fully give... That sounds really wrong. Is she fully going to align herself with Trick Williams on screen? Well, we will see. Also, one more thing. So last week when we were talking about this Trick William Lash Legend situation, it was funny because I had told you guys that I don't pay attention to who couples are in real life, right? Like I don't pay attention to that stuff. And I even told you guys a story about how I found out that Ludwig and Tiffany Stratton were a couple at the Love and WWE Bianca Belair premiere. I literally said this last week. And then on Wednesday morning, I think it was, I got a text message from a friend who was like, hey, do you know that your video, and they sent me the video, with Lola Vice that you can actually see Trick Williams and Lash Legend in the back. And I was like, what? So I go to the video that I posted, published, even watched, clipped out, saw all that stuff. The whole time, there's a big old shot of Trick Williams and Lash Legend in the back taking pictures and stuff. And I didn't even notice until someone pointed it out. So I thought that was really funny because, like, I was there and I didn't even notice. Like, come on now. Get out of your head, girl. Get out of your head. Anyways, I thought that was funny. 2 couples that I discovered in one event. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and press on from here, and let's get into this next topic that I want to talk about, because this was a match that was made for Stand and Deliver. We already knew it was happening, but it was made today. So we got the opening match of the night, which was Roxanne Perez versus Tatum Paxley. Now, this was the match that I was most looking forward to heading into today's show, because obviously, you know, I love Roxanne Perez and I love Tatum Paxley. I love all these people. I'm just excited. But anyways, so Roxanne, first of all, attacks Tatum Paxley before she can even finish her entrance. She just goes in there, she jumps her, and they start wrestling. I thought that Tatum looked pretty good. They had some fun moments. There was like a little bit that they did where Tatum did like a she was going to kick Roxanne on the outside, but Roxanne stopped her. And then she did this other bit where she grabbed her and she squeezed her head with her legs. They did this whole thing on the outside that I thought was pretty fun and kind of unique. So I enjoyed seeing that. But Roxanne wins this match via submission. And I thought they kept it simple. It looked good. And the thing that I noticed most about Tatum is that when she's in the ring, she's really got this presence. You pay attention to her, even if she's not doing some extraordinary big time move, even if she's not doing something spectacular, she captures you through her personality. So she's done a really good job of just having presence. Like, she's just not out there doing the moves, running the basics, doing basic 101 stuff, right? No, she's actually showing presence while she's doing what she's doing. So that was something that I wanted to make sure to shout out during this review. But anyways, after this match, we get a promo from Roxanne Perez. Roxanne won, by the way. She won via submission. But Roxanne tells Ava to do what's right, and that is to hand her the NXT Women's Championship that she never lost. That was the same thing she was asking for last week, and of course, that's not going to happen. And Lyra Valkyria, who was attacked by Roxanne Perez and sent to the hospital last week or 2 weeks ago, came back here today, and she's still not 100% from her shoulder, but she goes out there and she confronts Roxanne Perez. They start going at it, and there's a certain moment where there's a little bit of a boo-boo, and Lyra accidentally ends up like throwing Tatum Paxley, hitting Tatum Paxley by accident, but Roxanne kind of gets the better of Lyra in this. She's able to like beat her up, stand over her with the NXT Women's Champion, and she looked pretty damn strong. So Lyra Valkyria is pissed, and she goes to the back and she tells Ava Raine that she wants this match against Roxanne Perez at Stand and Deliver. And of course, Ava Raine makes this match official. So there you have it, Lyra versus Roxanne, Stand and Deliver for the NXT Women's Championship. So what's going to happen? All right, based on the chat, based on Twitter comments that I've been seeing, based on the Facebook comments that I've been seeing, a lot of people want to see Roxanne Perez get the win. People are sold right now with Roxanne Perez and what she's doing as a heel. It's working. People are interested. I read your guys' comments. I see what you guys are saying, and people are liking it. So we've said this a zillion freaking times, but we never got that full-fledged Roxanne Perez run as NXT Women's Champion. Is this it? Is this the moment? Do we think it's going to happen at Stand and Deliver? Go ahead and send in some thoughts here. We got a lot of people that are, expecting Roxanne to win. This is from Lewis, who says, new NXT Women's Champion. Vance Rawlings says Roxanne is winning for sure. Now, here's the thing. Christopher says that he thinks that Lyra is a dud champ. Here's the thing. I disagree with that. I don't think she's a dud champion. I do, though, think that they kind of, how do I say this? I feel like, all right, her coming. So when Lyra Valkyria got started in NXT, she came in and very, very fast. She was getting big matches. She went in there. She was looking aggressive. She really was like going in there and just like laying it in, and she moved differently than some of the girls, and she hit harder than some of the girls. So she stood out more than some of the other competitors. And so she quickly had this rise. So then the big moment, of course, was her beating Becky Lynch and becoming NXT Women's Champion. Becky Lynch gave her like the ultimate rub. Becky Lynch went to NXT and did her job. She put this girl on the map. And I do think that Lyra deserved that. Now, coming off of that, we had some more really good Lyra matches. She had that match with Xia Li that was really good. And there was another one I can't really remember right now, but I know she had a couple of other, like maybe one or two other good matches. But here's the thing, though. I still think that she should have gone out there and I think they should have given her more matches. But instead, we kind of got very carried away with the whole storyline with Tatum Paxley, right? And the whole like best friends, maybe crush type of situation. I'm not really too sure. I feel that the focus shifted more into Tatum and Lyra versus Lyra just going out there and continuing to show the wrestling that we were seeing from her before she became NXT champion. So I kind of wish that they kept doing with her what they were doing with her before she became NXT Women's Champion. And so I don't think she's a dud champion. I just don't think she had enough singles matches with other girls to like really show her off as a champion. It's like we had all of this time, and it was, again, the focus was Lyra and Tatum. Great. We had some good stuff with that, but I still think we should have seen more matches with Lyra there. Then on top of that, you had Roxanne Perez, who suddenly had this, this shift. And people were looking at that and going, okay, she's turning into a bad girl. She's a heel now. How is that going to look? And so all of a sudden, our heads are turning another direction. And so I don't think that Lyra is a dud champion or that people are bored of her. I just don't think that people got to see enough of her as a dominant champion. And that's been a little bit of my like, I know this because you guys know I'm like the biggest, I love Lyra Valkyria. Like I'm such a big fan of hers. Like no lie, she won me over fast, man. And I know this because while I'm watching NXT, there are still so many people I wanted to see Lyra defend her NXT Women's Championship against. I wanted to see her have more defenses against more of these girls on this roster because there are so many of them that I'm kind of left here, with my feet dangling because I wanted to see these matches and they didn't happen. So now it's like, I feel like some people may be confusing that with like, we're kind of over it, right? I don't think so. I just think they kind of maybe, they didn't keep the spark alive. They didn't keep the spark alive with Lyra there. Anyways, Roxanne Perez is now the person that I think people are most attracted to in terms of seeing her win. And I'm kind of split here because part of me is like, oh, well, I still want to see all of these matches with Lyra and all these people, right? But I think, and so part of me was like, oh, maybe Lyra is going to retain at Stand and Deliver. But seeing so many people be like, this is happening for Roxanne, and also me knowing that we kind of got gypped the first time with her NXT Women's Championship run, I'm like, yeah, I also want to see Roxanne Perez become champion. So it's one of those things where I'm personally okay with them going with either woman. I don't care who wins this match because I'm going to find the bright side to either one of them winning. But part of me thinks, though, that if Roxanne doesn't win, there's two things. If Roxanne doesn't win, then they're planning an even longer story here between Lyra and Roxanne. Or maybe not, she's going to the main roster. I don't know. I feel like that's always our go-to thought whenever someone that we think should win doesn't win. We just automatically think they're going to the main roster, which is actually not even like the right thing to think anymore. Because if you guys recall, how many champions in like the last year that were holding NXT gold at the time of their actual freaking call up. Indy Hartwell, the women's tag team champions, Braun Breaker. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there was like another one in there of people that were actually champions that got called up to the main roster as they were holding the gold. All right, whatever. So technically that train of thought, we probably shouldn't be thinking that anymore because that didn't really happen with everybody that got called up. But anyways, I'm good with whoever wins is what I'm trying to get at because I really like both people. And we got a super chat here from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much to Will, who says, I don't know if Roxanne's been going to acting class, but her acting and facials are great. The only way Roxanne loses this match is if she gets called up after Mania. See, I told you, we're going to think it. If she loses this match, we're going to think it. But based on the last couple of call-ups, technically, if she wins and she holds the championship, maybe there's a chance she'll go to the main roster. It's kind of silly, but it's been happening, guys. I'm not making this stuff up. Like, this is actually happening. Anyways, I'm not in a rush, and I've said this before. I'm not in a rush for Roxanne to go to the main roster. She's so young. She's got it. There's still a lot for her she can do. She's got it. She's fine. Anyways, I don't know if she's been taking an acting class or she's just working harder, getting more notes. With all the people that are backstage at the Performance Center, there's a million people behind the scenes that sometimes we don't get to talk about that have a lot of input into these characters that tell the wrestlers how to act, what to do, how to change their mannerisms, how to sound more, how to do all of these things. Like, that is why there's all these people there at the Performance Center there to help them. So I think it's a matter of her just maybe getting notes, applying it, and finding herself along the way and just doing the job, You learn as you go, right? After all, this is developmental. You learn as you go. Will Chisholm, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that a whole freaking much. All right, so let's press on from here, guys, and get into some more of what we're getting into. But I'm seeing most of the chat here, though, definitely wants to see Roxanne get that win. All right, let's go ahead and get into something that was kind of minor, but kind of hilarious. So there was a whole thing on commentary today where Vic Joseph kind of made a little joke in regards to the whole CM Punk, Booker T having a little bit of a quarrel, maybe whatever you want to call it. I'm not even really sure what we're supposed to call it, but they had like a little backstage thing that Booker T barely gave any information on his podcast, but apparently, based off of what he said, him and CM Punk kind of got into it. And then he said he wasn't going to say anything more. So this was really left up to our own imaginations of what might have occurred behind the scenes between Booker T and CM Punk. And there was people saying, oh, it's just Booker being Booker. But even then, we were pretty much left here with our own imaginations of what went down. Whatever. Vic Joseph, during the Roxanne Perez match, is talking about how Roxanne has been very vocal, right? And he ties it into CM Punk, and he's like, oh, she's been vocal like one of her idols, CM Punk. Sorry, one of her idols, your good friend, CM Punk. And then he started promoting CM Punk's Chicago appearance on Monday Night Raw next week. And during this, Booker T's like, CM Punk? Tell me you didn't just say that. And Vic Joseph's like, oh, I did. We'll let the internet have fun with it all. And we surely did. I had a great time with that. I laughed very hard about that. That was it, guys. There's not really much else to say because we don't really know what happened between Booker and CM Punk. This is like, don't be a tease. This was literally a tease moment, man. Booker said he wasn't going to give any more information so that it wouldn't get picked up, but it got picked up anyways, and we just didn't have any information to go along with it. So kind of sucks, man. It's like we got the tea, but not like the entire tea. I want the entire tea. I want all of the juicy information. We didn't get it. What a tease. What a tease. Arnold Nicholson Jr. says Booker T likes to stir the pot up. Man, in this particular case, it was Vic Joseph stirring that pot. Vic Joseph's been doing great work, by the way, on NXT. I've been a big fan of his work on commentary, as well as the dynamic between him and Booker T. I think they've been doing a swell job. All right, so let's go ahead and move on and get into some other topics regarding NXT. I'm going to kind of go in order just to make it easier on myself for today. And there are some things we'll spend a little bit more time on than others, but Josh Briggs calls out Oba Femi. Now, reminder that last week, Oba Femi literally beat the life out of Brooks Jensen, and Oba Femi comes down and he basically says that, there's no place for emotion in the ring. He likes to push men to the edge. Dijak comes out, and there's like this, I don't know, I think they were trying to be funny. I didn't think this was that funny. I think that's what they were trying to do. These guys kind of briefly go at it just a little bit. Now, chat, I have a question for you. And for anybody that watches this video on replay. Is Oba Femi a heel or a baby face? Somebody please tell me what you think Oba Femi is. Is he a heel or a baby face? Because here's my take on this, and I need some help here. Shine some light on me. Because Oba Femi, I thought, was a baby face. The whole time. When he won, I thought he was a babyface. Whatever. I just thought he was. Then last week, given the way that he was beating up Brooks Jensen, I'm like, oh, maybe he's a heel. But then I was like, is he a heel just for beating up some guy in a match? Not really. That's his job. Okay. And then he came out today and he cut his little promo, right? And he came off very heelish in his promo, but the fans were cheering for him like a babyface. So I'm like, I missed something here. I think I missed something here. I'm not really sure what is happening here. Let's see what the people are saying. All right. Roberto, Brandon, Caden, Chris are all saying a heel. Chris says a heel over with the crowd. All right, we got a couple people saying he's a babyface or a tweener, but I feel for the most part, everyone is looking like I'm seeing more heel comments here. All right. Larice Johnson says he's a heel, but the crowd respects him. That's a good explanation. I like that one. All right. So let's just go with he's a heel. John Smith says Oba's just a badass. See, that's why I was a little bit conflicted. Like, I really wasn't too sure what he was. All right, let's just go with heel then. I just don't think he's a 100% heel, guys. And he's getting cheered. So I'm going to... All right, fine. Heel it is. Malik Black says, love that everyone does chops now. Axiom and Charlie chops were loud. Also, Rip Stacks next week. Yeah, Oba versus Dijak versus Briggs and the little meat emoji. Oh, we're getting the meat, guys. Thank you so much to Malik Black for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Tracy says, I think he was to be a heel, but babyface. All right. At least, I know that I'm not the only one here with a question mark surrounding Oba Femi, because if it was crystal clear, then I would have just seen everybody with one answer. And the fact that I've seen various answers makes me feel better. But anyways, that's where we're at with that. We had a quick backstage segment where Sean Spears was watching this unfold, and he's sitting down in a chair watching on screen. And just as he leaves, turns out that he was being watched. He was being watched by none other than Joe Gacy. Okay, I'm cool with this, actually. We needed to move on from Dijak and Joe Gacy at some point. And Sean Spears is out here showing people who their true selves are. Joe Gacy was kind of lost for a bit, so maybe they can tie that all in together somehow. I don't know how, but I think they can tie it all in. Fine. Sean Spears, Joe Gacy, that's looking like that may be something they do down the line, because they did announce a match for next week, but the match is actually between Sean Spears and Dijak. Did they announce a Joe Gacy match? No, they didn't. It's just the Sean Spears versus Dijak match next week. All right. Anyways, so there seems to be a lot more that's going to be taking place there with Joe Gacy and Sean Spears. Next up, we got to get into the tag team stuff. By the way, I was just thinking about this today. Everyone is having some sort of tag team tournament right now. Literally everybody. The main roster on both Raw and SmackDown, we're seeing the qualifiers in the tag team tournament, the matches for the 6-pack WrestleMania match, right? So we've been seeing qualifiers and things like that. Then on NXT, we had the qualifiers for the triple threat. Whoever wins the triple threat goes on to face the champs at Stand and Deliver. Then over on the AEW side, we also have a tag team tournament. Guys, I am so confused now because everybody's doing something just a little bit different. So I'm literally trying to keep up with all of these freaking tag team qualifiers and tournaments and whatever the hell we're doing. And I'm starting to get confused. But anyways, I've gotten all straightened out. All right. So let me update you on what is going down on the NXT side of the tag team stuff. All right. So we had 2 qualifiers today because there was 2 more spots that were left for the triple threat. Now, the triple threat, I think, is happening next week. I forgot what day this is. The triple threat happening next week? Let me see. Is a triple threat next week? Huh. They didn't promote it, but I'm guessing it's probably next week. Whatever. It's sometime before Stand and Deliver. Anyways, the only team that was in right now was the LWO. So there were 2 more spots to fill. We had a match between Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus the No Quarter Catch crew. And this match, I blinked and this match happened. And I'm not saying it because it was fast. I'm saying because Nathan Frazier and Axiom were literally moving on the screen like this, like my finger right now. I'm talking like they were going 100, 150 miles per hour in this match. And the fans love it, by the way. Like, you see Nathan Frazier run the freaking ropes. Like, this dude can get, he's like the Flash. Honestly, he's like the Flash. And that's why I said, like, I blinked and this match happened because that's how fast they were moving in there. But this was a fun little matchup that they had. Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they get the win, so they make it into this triple threat match. So at this point, we were sitting with LWO and Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So we had 1 more spot to fill. That next match was between Gallows and Anderson versus Hank and Tank. This match was polar opposite of what we got with Axiom, Nathan, and the No Quarter Catch crew. Totally different. With Gallows and Anderson, Hank and Tank, this was just like big meaty dudes. We were talking about the meats. This was big meaty dudes. I thought this was a solid freaking match. I actually enjoyed what they did here. And you guys know, I'm a big Hank and Tank fan. I don't know why, but I've liked them since like day one. I think it's their personalities. I'm not really too sure, but I really like Hank and Tank. They just give me good vibes. Like, I look at them and I get a really good feeling. So for some reason, I'm a fan of Hank and Tank, and they're good in the ring too. Like, we haven't seen them wrestle as much, but when they do go out there, they do a good job. So anyways, Hank and Tank versus Gallows and Anderson. This was a good one. This was the meat match of the night. Gallows and Anderson win with their magic killer, and they make it into this triple threat. So whenever this triple threat happens, we're going to be seeing, someone says it's on April. Someone says it is next week. All right. Anyways, so whenever we get the triple threat, we're going to get the triple threat. LWO versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Gallows and Anderson. Whoever wins this match is being added to the WrestleMania. Why do I keep saying WrestleMania? To the Stand and Deliver card against Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. But there's another thing. There's another match that's happening next week. There's a lot, guys. Next week, we are getting a match between Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin versus Akira Tozawa and Otis. So, if Akira Tozawa and Otis win this match, they're going to be added to the Stand and Deliver match. So this does have the opportunity of being a triple threat tag team match at Stand and Deliver. So I know I gave you guys a lot here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Gallows and Anderson versus Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin versus Otis and Akira Tozawa. And I'm pretty sure Gallows and Anderson are winning and probably pinning Otis, and Tozawa. That's just my prediction based off of what things are looking like right now. Anyways, my God, like I said, so many rules, so many things happening with tag teams in pro wrestling. Oh, we got Metalhead for Life who says, you're the greatest ever. Thank you so much, Metalhead for Life. I'm DWO member for 7 months. Thank you so much for coming in and showing some love, man. I appreciate it. All right. Sterling 273 says, an educated guess. Damn right. That is my best educated guess for this. We got Raphael Smith who says, Hank and Tank did a very good job today. They always do a good job. Honestly, they're cool. I like them. All right. Moving on, we got some other items to get to for NXT. Before I do, just a friendly reminder to everybody that tomorrow, the AEW Dynamite post show is going to be on an hour later than normal. In case you missed it, tomorrow it is going to be 3 hours of AEW content, 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Rampage. Yes, I'm tuning into Rampage. I already know everyone's asking. So 3 hours of AEW content. And so Reg and I will be live after Rampage is over to talk about the full 3 hour block. So tomorrow is going to be a can't miss show. There's a lot of stuff that has been announced for that. We got Kingston versus Okada. We got Mercedes Moné. She's going to be cutting a promo. Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage, and Jericho versus Hook. And I forgot what else. But anyways, there's going to be a bunch of stuff. It's going to be a fun show. So we'll be in here to talk about all of that. Alrighty. Now, let's get into Sol Ruca versus Brinley Reese. So earlier we had a super chat, and this was from Stephen Marchuli, who said, Sol Ruca has the it factor since her return. So she had I've been saying that since we saw her come back, but she has this new glow to her, and it's undeniable. Like, I see her and the girl is shining. Her hair is glowing. Her skin is glowing. I don't know what she's doing. Whatever she's doing, I want it. But she looks great. Anyway, so she's been beefing with Blair Davenport because Blair Davenport was the one who took her out in storyline. And so she has this match with Brinley Reese. Brinley Reese has been hanging out with Malik and Idris. Guys, I was dying during this. Oh my God. Please tell me you guys caught Booker T again. Booker T. What did Malik Blade and Idris Anofi do to Booker T? I'm starting to think they did something to him. I don't know what. They stepped on his shoe. Maybe they ate his sandwich. Sorry, now I'm thinking about Ross. Ross from Friends when he gets mad about his sandwich. What did they do to Booker T? He has been throwing shots at these two since the very beginning, since he started on NXT. And this killed me, guys. So during the matchup, during Sol Ruca versus Brinley Reese on commentary, Booker T was like, I don't even know how this came up, okay? But it came up. He was like, they need motivation. And he starts to mess up their names. Like, he doesn't even know their names. And Vic Joseph's like, you don't even know their names. And he goes, I don't even know who they are. It killed me. It honestly killed me. Because I think this is like a gimmick now. I kind of hope it isn't a gimmick. I hate to say this, but I kind of hope that he has like something. Like, there's something between him and Malik and Idris, because it is hilarious. And I think it's funny, and I want to keep seeing him kind of like do that. Anyways, we'll never know. We'll find out at some point what they did to Booker T. But this was a quick win for Sol Ruca. She hits her soul snatcher. And I tell you, every time she hits her soul snatcher, like, my brain stops functioning, because I look at her and I'm like, I don't even know how she did that. She goes in, she goes out. I mean, someone put that thing on slow motion, bring out the telestrator, explain what she does with that soul snatcher, because it looks really cool and it happens so fast. My brain just stops working when I watch her do that. But anyways, she goes out there, she gets her win. She looks great. And they mentioned that before she was out due to injury, that she had a lot of momentum, and she had gone viral on social media because of this move. And so they mentioned her trying to recapture some of that. And I think that's clearly what they're trying to do. Get her to go out there, have some matches, hit her soul snatcher, and get over once again with the people. But I'm telling you, she came back and she looks better than ever, though. Blair, of course, who she's feuding with, jumps Soruka after this and attacks her. I don't think. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe they'll add this match to Stand and Deliver, because right now for Stand and Deliver, we have 4 matches. It's Ilya versus Tony for the NXT Championship, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker in that tag team match that we still don't know exactly who their opponents are going to be, Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, and Lyra versus Roxanne. I feel that all the last couple of NXT pay-per-views, I think, have been 5 matches, so maybe they'll add Blair and Soruka to this. We'll see what they'll add to that. We'll see. Anyways, we got Malik Black here who says, I need a Spider-Man meme between Thea and Brindley. They look alike? Huh. I need to go back and look at her again. Yeah, you're right. I think no, you know who really looks alike? And I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks. It's Tony D'Angelo and Luca Crisafino. Now they look alike. They look exactly alike. I don't know what their story is, but the point is they look exactly alike. Malik Black, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, so yeah, you're right. Toronto Kid says they're both bubbly. Yeah, they are both bubbly. She does come out and she's like, yeah. And we know how Thea is. So let's get into the family and Ilya Dragunov. They had a pretty quick segment out in the ring. Ilya wasn't there, but he came out he came out on the screen, did like a pre-recorded thing or whatever he did, hit a video. And this was very simple. This was just Tony D'Angelo welcoming Luca Crisafino into the family, and he pledges his loyalty to the family. We get a little confrontation between Ilya and Tony D. And next week, we're going to be seeing Ilya versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo. And yes, earlier someone had said, rip Stacks. Ilya Dragunov is going to rip this poor kid to shreds. He is going to he's going to go from like boy to man after taking a beating from Ilya Dragunov. Let's just leave it at that. He's going to take a beating that is going to change his life. And I cannot wait to see it. That's going to be happening next week. Alrighty, and we got one more thing to get into, and then we're gonna go ahead and kind of talk about what's going on next week. But we got Riley Osborne versus Drew Gulak for the NXT Heritage Cup. This was actually pretty okay. Again, I'm still not a fan of the Heritage Cup matches. I just can't get into them. But for the most part, there was some fun stuff in here. I want to say, first and foremost, that Riley and Drew Gulak, they tend to have some pretty good chemistry with each other in the ring. I thought they worked lovely with one another. I was watching this match and was just like, I forgot to like write down any notes or anything because I was just like watching and genuinely enjoying the rounds between both of these guys, primarily the first round. I really liked what they did there during that first round. Riley got the first fall. Drew got the second fall. Eventually, Drew wins the thing, but he gets help. He gets help from JC Jane and Jasmine, who have been beefing with Thea Hale. So they kind of incorporated the girls' storyline into this. And of course, Thea Hale was super pissed because that was her guy, Riley Osborne. So they only came out to mess with Riley in his match because they know Thea Hale is madly in love with him. So I liked how they kind of incorporated all of this together. But this was fine, honestly. This was fine. They mixed in both stories. It was good. Afterwards, we saw Kiana James, Jasmine, JC Jane, Izzy Dawn, all of those girls backstage talking shit on Thea Hale. So that was good too. I like that stuff. But anyways, that was pretty much the whole thing with them. But there was another match that was made for Thea. Thea's going to be facing Jasmine Nix next week. And yeah, that was pretty good. And I think that Thea Hale should lose next week. And I think that it should be like her getting screwed at the hands of JC Jane. I think they definitely need to do that. I want to see JC, because I feel like last week when Thea Hale stood up for herself and she had this backbone and she was really just like giving it to JC Jane, I think JC Jane needs to give it back. This needs to bounce back and forth. I need to see JC Jane like continue being the B word to Thea Hale, and Thea Hale being like, God damn it, you know how she gets. That's what I want to see. I want to continue to see this bounce back and forth. And the matches that we're seeing next week, Ilya versus Stax. Ilya's going to kill Stax. We're also going to be seeing the Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin versus Alpha Academy match. Again, if they win, they're going to be added to the match at Stand and Deliver. Thea Hale versus Jasmine Nix that I just mentioned. Duke Hudson versus Josh Briggs. That should be interesting. And Sean Spears versus Dijak. So that's what's being announced for NXT next week. Overall, a pretty simple episode. That was it, guys. That was NXT. Before I go, I want to thank everybody, of course, for coming in, hanging out, having a good time. Always love chatting NXT with everybody here. And also, if you haven't already, guys, I ask this every week, but I'm over on Apple Podcast, and I'm trying to get more ratings on my Apple Podcast page. I currently have 111 ratings, and I'm trying to grow that a whole lot more so that my podcast could rank higher, so more people could find it, and try to help get some more sponsorships and all of that. So if you enjoy this podcast or any of my podcasts, any of my interviews, this would be an awesome time to go to my Apple Podcast page. And on the app, you can leave a review. If you don't have an Apple Podcast page, you can also check me out over on Spotify, and you can also leave a review on Spotify. That one, you don't even have to write anything. You just leave like a star rating. So it would really help me out if you guys did. And of course, whenever I do get new reviews, I do read them here on the streams. I check every single time right before a stream if there's any new ones. And if so, I pull them up here and I read them. So that is it. Thank you. Gary Juby says, it's going to go give me 5 stars right now. Thank you. Thank you. I keep track of this, guys. It's very sad. Actually, I'm very, very, very I'm a numbers person. So a lot of people don't know this, but I'm very, very big on numbers. And when it comes to my content and stuff, and I keep track every single week of what apps I did good on, what apps I did not do good on. And let me tell you, I need to get better at promoting these reviews. So please head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and give some love. I'm going to be annoying with that for the next couple of weeks. But anyways, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for AEW. And if not, then I will see you back here on Friday for SmackDown Conversation. And then next week, more videos, and we're almost headed into WrestleMania week, so there's going to be a lot coming up then. Alrighty, everyone, have an awesome day. Thank you so much. Bye.